मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मणिस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ मे my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. May there be perfect harmony between my thoughts, words, and actions. O self-effulgent Lord, shine forth in my consciousness. May the truths of the scriptures come to me. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is auspicious, what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true, divine, immortal self in our heart as a steadily burning candle flame, and let us concentrate on that. I see the light of the flame has filled my whole body. I am the light of the self. All the universe also is filled with the same one light. everything is filled with this transcendent and transcendently immanent oneness. It is bliss itself. It is love itself. I see this infinite, all-pervading Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss is condensed in the human form of Sri Ramakrishna. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So let us begin with our usual prayers. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadattatam Bhuvi Grinanti Te Bhurida Janaha. So we were discussing about Sri Ramakrishna's teacher, Guru, in the sadhana, in the spiritual practice as prescribed by the non-dual Vedanta. It is the path of vichara. In Sanskrit it is called vichara, viveka vichara. Means the path of well-directed discerning thought. A powerful directed thought of discernment. And in that powerful discernment, things get separated. What is real and what is just appearance. What is the right, what is not right. What is temporary and what is permanent, all get clearly separated. And thus, this clear vision makes one get merged into the absolute, because when you see that all forms and the names associated with them, they are not real, they are temporary. You lose all attractions for them. It is, let us remember, it is only because we consider them permanent, we get attached to them. The moment we understand that they are not permanent, our attraction, attachment, both will cease. Because that means that it is not real. Knowing something to be unreal does not hold attraction for us. We do not want to possess something that is unreal. So therefore, we see this path. It is a very clear path and very swift compared to other paths where you need lot of practice. This is just very clear discernment that this is unreal. And when being unreal, it fades away, drops off from our awareness. It is not real. So you just do not see it anymore, being unreal. So it is thus the awareness gets established in reality, in the truth. And that is how one is now realized person. A God realized person has seen that God alone is real. So this is the path. Very simple. Logically, it doesn't take much, Even any a person of just average intelligence can grasp it quickly. That it is. But the problem is that most of us have a discerning intellect, but not a strong intellect. We understand, but that understanding just gets blown away by a little temptation. I understand everything, but when some emotions, some titillation comes, and then that understanding gets drowned in that. So although it is sharp, our intellect is sharp, it is not strong. And many times the two things get confused. A sharp intellect and a strong intellect, they are two different things. I sometimes give example of the knife, a very piercing, sharp knife. I went to cut something with that. Now it did penetrate, it went deep, but then when I tried to just cut that part off, just tried to yank it, instead of that fruit breaking, the knife broke. It happens, when many times trying to, cut a piece of wood. Now you need, of course, a sharp that tool for that. It is a sharp saw blade. Okay, you cut it, and then those who are expert, knowledgeable carpenters, therefore they cut and then they take out and see that the wood sticking inside, that also is taken out. Because otherwise when you do it again, the blade gets stuck, and then the blade may break, because although it has the sharpness, it doesn't have the strength. So also with our discerning faculty, that it is sharp, but it cannot withstand the onslaught of emotions. So, this is the problem with our mind. So, although this is a very straightforward path to God realization, a very quick, it doesn't take any time basically. It is how long does it take to see that it is just rope that was appearing as snake, and then how the fear of the snake quickly vanishes. Just gone. It is, but with this world it doesn't happen so quickly. It is, is it unreal? And people then, with that kind of weak intellect, they say, well, it may be unreal, but then I like it. It is, it may be unreal, so get stuck in it. And thus, in spite of knowledge, they suffer. In fact, as it is said in Ishavasya Upanishad, those verses are beautiful, that they are those who understand and fail to implement, they are worse than those who don't understand. Those who don't understand, well, they have an excuse, they didn't have the knowledge, So, a crime unknowingly committed is not as punishable as the crime that is committed knowingly, well planned and all that. So, it is, two things are different. In criminal justice, therefore, there is a gradation, that there is a murder. Again, there are the levels. First degree, second degree, third degree murder, where the intentions and the planning and the motive was highest. That is first degree murder. You deliberately, for your gain, for getting some money or some other things, and with that you killed his fellow, plotting the murder. So that is the first degree, because you knew it is wrong and you did it. And then somebody, inadvertently got killed. It doesn't get called even murder then. It gets called as manslaughter, unintentional manslaughter. So, it is crime, but it is unintentional, so is of less severity. So similarly, somebody who doesn't know that the world is unreal, sees it as real, knows it as real, and so therefore gets stuck in it. Well, that is bad, but not as bad, not as punishable as the one who knows very well that it is unreal. In fact, can write a thesis on the Vedantic concept of unreality of the world and reality of Brahman, but yet is stuck knowingly stuck, makes a division that okay, that is for the intellect, and for life this is a different life. So it is a voluntarily the person is kind of cheating oneself. So in Bengali they call it Jnana Papi. Did you hear this word, Pratish? Jnana Papi. So it is, and yet you get into that. It is, so this is how but you don't execute. That is a worse thing. So, and you compartmentalize. This is this, this is this. They tell the story of a minister, and then he used to give sermons like this, it is this God is everything, we should love God, see God in other people, treat them kindly, and so forth. And then he had a servant, and he used to treat very badly. That servant was treated very badly, and abused the servant. So, immediately after giving the sermon, he started abusing the servant. And then his conscience pricked. Hey, I just told about all these good things, and I am now flouting all that. I am scolding this fellow. I am abusing this fellow. What is this? So he tried to justify it by saying to the servant, and I am telling you not as the minister, but as the master. I am your master. I am telling you as master, not as minister. Okay, the servant was intelligent. He said that, okay, if the master for such actions, if the master is condemned to hell, where will the minister be going? So it is cheating, you see. It is not really a justified thing. And it is kind of conscious cheating that the just intellectual people who intellectually understand, they do. It is that there was that Kenyan freedom leader of the freedom fight there, Jomo Kenyatta. So a very inspiring personality and so forth. So he wrote a book about the history of African struggle, and he said, well, we didn't have in those days the Bible. The Europeans came and gave us the religion, that this is, take this Bible. They told us that close your eyes. We had the land and they had the Bible. And then as we closed the eyes, and then they told open, we now had the Bible and they had the land. So it is, they knowingly, in the name of religion, this cheating goes on. First in the mind, you cheat, nobody cheats somebody else before first cheating oneself. So, therefore the path of knowledge, although is very good for most of us who have all these carnal attractions for the world, it doesn't work. So, therefore there are the paths of devotion. Turn your emotions towards God. It is comparatively slower in a way, but more efficacious. It is that, okay, you cannot just actually see the rope, you are still seeing the snake, and so shivering in fear of the snake, non-existent snake, because you are understanding that it is rope and the snake doesn't exist, is not actually having any impact on your psyche. Doesn't matter. Okay, keep this knowledge, this understanding in background, and then start having, developing the love for the rope. So, gradually, because of the love for the rope, it will start appearing as real. It will become, gradually, it will take possession of your psyche, and then the snake will beat a retreat. So, this is how the process of devotion, bhakti goes, works. That you cannot get away from this attraction of the world. So, okay, try. First, it will be with efforts, that try to chant the name of the God, try to think of the God, try to feel God. It is all the process of guiding our emotions. Work for God. Direct your all these faculties towards God. Turn towards them. Turn them towards God. So it now turns, and then it progresses in stages. So this is the path of, iti, that is, yes, yes, this is it, this is it, this is it. The path of knowledge was mainly based on not this, not this. These forms, they don't exist. All these things, they have no attraction. Get rid of it, and then what is real, that is left. So Totapuri was that follower, a successful follower of this path of discernment, path of knowledge. And therefore, since he grew up like that, he refused to acknowledge that there is other way, and there may be people, many people, who are not emotionally that in control of those. They don't have the power of discernment so strong to overturn the onslaught of emotions. So he could not think of that. So he therefore gradually learned that it is under the this teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, in company of Sri Ramakrishna. Many incidents are given here that I will not read through everything because you can read them, there is not much to explain. So, it is, Tota did not realize, I am reading on page 536, second paragraph, but Tota did not realize that when mind is not cooperative, self-effort can be carried away like a bunch of straw in a swift current, and self-reliance and self-confidence can be pushed aside by terrible doubts in one's own abilities, making one feel firm. Observing the success of his own life, Topa could not imagine that if by God's grace a person did not enjoy favorable conditions in the external world, then spiritual effort would not bear fruit. Rather, the unfavorable conditions would bind that person more and more. He never dreamt of such a difficulty because all through his life he accomplished whatever he had set out to do, and whatever he considered good for human beings, he had been able to accomplish in his own life. It is doubtful whether it ever occurred to Tota that a person could be in a situation where the mind understands but the heart does not respond. The intellect understands but it does not respond. I still picture before my mind's eye. One of our devotees, she doesn't come these days. For a long, many years she has been coming rarely, and that too not for the classes. So in the classes she used to say, Swami, what you say makes perfect sense here, but not here. That is the case of the most people that Tota could not see, because he had been blessed with all these favorable situations, and his mind always obeyed that discernment, that whatever is not real, the mind would just revert from that. There was no such emotional attachment. It is unreal. What is the emotional attachment about it? It is not real at all. So that sense that Brahman, Satchidananda, the all-pervading, infinite, blissful existence alone is real. Everything that appears is not real. So there was no question of mind getting there. But he could not see that if God doesn't make these things favorable, a person will not be able to withstand these all these floods of emotions. It is like it is mentioned here, like a straw, it will get just washed away. It is, I remember in my climb to a great pilgrimage place in Himalayas, the origin of the holy river Jamuna. So we all reached there, all because of the snowfall and cold. We were shivering, and it was dark, and we were told that we should go to stay for our night stay in a temple, but we have to cross the river it is on the other bank. And then how to cross? And that man said, you will see a bridge there. Just walk on that bridge. Now, we went in the dark, we had flashlight and so tried. No bridge was seen. So we came back, again disturbed that man, because it was dark, late, so he was probably wanting to sleep. We again said, oh, well, there is no bridge. No bridge. There is that, you see that there is a log of wood. It is just a roundish tree trunk that was kept across. That is the bridge. Oh wow, you mean we should walk on that? Yeah, that is what you should be walking on. And then underneath was passing that turbulent, it was narrow but very turbulent river. How deep it is, I didn't know. So just to feel that, okay, let us walk one by one on that, what gets called bridge. So it is, let us see how I therefore dip we had sticks, to help us climbing, and so I dipped my stick to see how deep the water is. And in a flash, before I could realize, it was snatched by the current. So now another problem, no stick also. So it is because I did not realize that the current is so swift that I will not be able to hold. So similarly, all our reasoning, our spirit of discernment, our restraint, and all that gets blown away by the onslaught of various attachments and such things. So Totapuri had no problems so far with these things. And so he used to criticize these practices of devotion. What is this? There is an incident told that it is that from childhood the master had a custom of chanting God's name in the morning and evening. He would clap his hands and sometimes dance in ecstasy, loudly repeating Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari is Guru, and that is Guru is Hari. So, like that, Hari is my heart, Govinda is my life, Krishna is mind, Krishna is life. So, Krishna knowledge, Krishna meditation, Krishna is consciousness, Krishna is intellect. You are the world and the world is in you. I am instrument and you are the operator, and so forth. Master practiced this discipline every day even after he had attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the non-dual knowledge of Vedanta. One afternoon, the master was engaged in a spiritual discussion with Tota in the Panchavati. This was after he followed the discipline taught by Tota and attained in such a short time. This description has come in what is called the Sri Ramakrishna in his mood as spiritual aspirant. Anyway, so it is in Panchavati, a picture just that you see behind Sri Ramakrishna, that is akin to that Panchavati picture. So, it is, and master at that time stopped talking and began to chant God's name as usual, clapping his hands. Amazed, Tota pondered, Ramakrishna is a competent master of Vedanta and attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi in 3 days. Why does he act like a beginner? Tota then sarcastically remarked, What? Are you clapping your hands to make chapatis? They make the Indian flat bread, with the wheat flour they make a dough, and then especially this happens with the monastics, because they don't carry too many utensils, and a rolling pin and such things. So at homes they roll it on a rolling bed and pin, use it. So, but Totapuri now, the monks usually don't carry all that stuff with them, so they do it on hand. So, Totapuri started, making fun of Sri Ramakrishna's chanting the name of God. Hey, are you making these chapatis, the flat breads? What is this? And Sri Ramakrishna laughingly replied, Nonsense, I am taking the name of God and you say I am making chapatis? The master's childlike answer made Tota laugh also. He understood that the master's kind of devotional practice was not meaningless, because he saw what stature of that authority Sri Ramakrishna had on this Vedanta sadhana also. He could not say therefore that it is only for those who are of lower lower capabilities. No. Sri Ramakrishna could not be classified certainly like that. He knew that. And so he understood that, something is very special about that. So at least a thought came. It happens, when you meet that somebody who is more than you, like a person, very much into the field of science, physics, chemistry, all that, and everything can be done through science and engineering. There is nothing in this world, no secrets that cannot be opened by using our physics. Swami Vivekananda met one such professor of science. Uh, so, and it was in South India, and he was sure that he will see that he can show this monk that what is all this devotion and all that Vedanta not necessary. All science knows everything. But when he saw that Vivekananda knows more science than he knows, in fact, he started playing with his knowledge, this professor's knowledge of science, as if somebody who is in the, say, some 7th or 8th grade and learning science. And so, if he meets a professor of that discipline, the professor starts, talking as if you kid, starts making fun, starts playing with him. It happened to me, I was some 8th or 9th grader, and then was taking some pride in my understanding of science. And then at home one guest had come who was a master in this. So he just asked me a few questions, and that just beaten me thoroughly, and I understood that I don't know anything. So then I was ready to listen to him. Earlier I thought that I know a lot. So similarly, when this professor, he started talking to Vivekananda, he knew that his knowledge of science is nowhere near Vivekananda's knowledge. And so he started listening to Vivekananda with tremendous reverence. Because of this incident, Vivekananda started calling him Kiddie. A kid, a kiddie. He has now many letters written with this address to Kiddie, a dear Kiddie, because Kiddie, in the sense that he accepted that he is after all a child, because Vivekananda knew even about science more than he knew. So such incident happened in Harvard University also. They had thought that they will, it was professors of chemistry at Harvard, and then they tried to, question Vivekananda on the basis of their understanding. Soon it transpired that Vivekananda had read more books of chemistry than they had read. So it is amazing. So here you see Sri Ramakrishna's understanding of non-duality, and still not only understanding, his authority in that field, and still practicing devotion made Totapuri think. This is, you see the psychology behind this, that here is a person who is more adept in this field than I am, and yet able to seamlessly he is doing the devotional practices as well. What is this? There is something to learn from this. So it is on another evening, Master was seated with Tota near the sacred dhuni. Both of their minds were almost completely absorbed in non-dual knowledge as they talked about God, the Atman, as if dwelling in the flames of the dhuni, that fire, that sacred fire. So, and they were smiling joyously and expressing that oneness through the hundreds of leaping tongues of fire. Meanwhile, a servant of the garden wished to smoke, and he made his pipe ready with tobacco. Spotting the fire, he came over and began to take a piece of that hot charcoal to light his pipe. Tota was so absorbed in discussion with the master and in the non dual bliss of Brahman within that he did not notice that a man had come and was about to take charcoal from the dhuni. But when he saw the intruder, he flew into a rage and began to scold him, threatening him with his tongs. As we mentioned earlier, Naga monks worshipped and respected this fire, that fire god, in the form of this dhuni. So he was very upset that somebody just tried to take naturally. But witnessing this, Sri Ramakrishna now had his chance to, tell Totapuri, what is this? Witnessing this display of Tota's anger, the master laughed in ecstasy until he rolled on the ground crying, "Oh, for shame!" Surprised, Tota asked, "What are you laughing about? The man is insolent." Still laughing, the master answered, "Oh, yes, he is insolent, but I am also observing the depth of your knowledge of Brahman. Just now you were telling me that Brahman alone exists and all objects and beings in this universe are its manifestation. Yet in the next moment you forgot all that and are ready to beat that poor man." I laughed to see the irresistible power of Maya. See, this is how, that anger burst forth. It is, Tota became very serious and was silent for some time. Then he said, "You are quite right. I indeed forget everything under the influence of anger. Anger is a deadly thing. I shall never again be angry. I gave it up this very moment." And it is said that Tota never was angry again. Yeah, but it is a learning process, I am giving it up. Tota would give it up, and it is giving up. Yeah, I was talking to one man who had lung problems, was smoking. Still, the doctor told, "Don't smoke." And I told him, "You please, give up smoking. You say you don't have money, and you are wasting money on smoking. You are spoiling your own lungs. Why? Give up smoking." "Yes, I give up 7 times a week," he said. "I give up 7 times a week." So, that is not giving up. So, but that is what happens to resolve of ordinary people. The master used to say, "Brahman weeps when ensnared in the meshes of Maya. You may close your eyes and reason. There is no thorn, nothing to prick, but you cry out in pain as soon as your hand is pricked by a thorn. Similarly, you may reason that there is no such thing as birth or death, virtue or vice, pain or misery, hunger or thirst, that you are the eternal Brahman, the existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. But the moment your body succumbs to illness, or your mind is overcome by temptation, or you commit a transgression distracted by the seemingly sweet enjoyment of lust and gold, you forget your high philosophy and are overwhelmed by delusion and its painful consequences. So, this is the condition of one's resolve under the spell of this Maya. Totapuri had this strong resolve, and even then, as happened in this situation, the anger overcame. The knowledge, the understanding was just overthrown by the rising anger. So, it is said that Sri Ramakrishna used to insist that unless the divine veiling power called Maya puts a veil on our understanding, and thus non-real starts appearing as real. So, unless this Maya, this power of nations, moves away, you can't see the truth. And you cannot move it. The problem is you cannot overcome it without the grace of God. Since Totapuri received the grace of God without putting in much efforts, he thought that this is very natural. Something you get, you feel that automatically you get it. And thus you think that that is how the things are. Like somebody who is born with silver spoon. So now thinks that the world, everybody has everything they want. It is why there is, it is like that funny anecdote that the French queen, when she saw that the poor protesters, they were crowding the palace, and she as it is said to have asked the ministers, "Hey, what are these poor people here for?" "Oh Queen, they are saying that they don't have bread to eat." And the Queen seems to have remarked, "Let them eat cakes. If they don't have bread, let them be," because oblivious of the situation in which public lives. It is because she didn't have to face that situation. So Totapuri never had to face these terrible torments in life. And so thought that, well, you just hold on to the reality, give up all that is unreal, but sees that unless the Maya makes the way. So a story that Sri Ramakrishna used to tell is told here, that it is Rama, Sita and Lakshman were walking through the forest on a narrow path where only one at a time could go. Rama led the way, bow and arrow in hand. Sita followed him, and behind her was Lakshmana with his bow and arrow. Lakshmana was so intensely devoted to Rama that he wanted to see his beautiful form all the times. But Sita was obstructing his view, so he became anxious. The intelligent Sita understood this and was sympathetic. She stepped aside now and then, saying, "Look." Only then could Lakshmana see his beloved Rama. Sita is that power of nations, Maya, inseparable from God, the Rama. And Lakshmana represents the devotee. Wants to see God, but here is the problem, that Maya is obstructing the view. So, this is how you see the problem. Swami Totapuri did not realize that he had received the Divine Mother's grace from his very birth, from childhood, and thus he never had to face these issues. So Tota's constitution had always therefore also been strong, never fell ill. So how the illness can torment the body and then can cloud the intellect also, he had no experience of such things. So he was always on this, that we should assert the self, assert one's own power. That's all. So, but then he fell sick. That is the incident that is told here. He fell sick, and then he had the colic, could not concentrate his mind. So he decided, now what is there the point of continuing to live? By that time already he had spent about 10 months at Dakshineshwar. He wouldn't stay at a place more than 3 days. But because of the charm of Sri Ramakrishna's personality, he continued there. And so on for such a long time. That itself was kind of, getting caught in this maya of Sri Ramakrishna. He would say now and then that enough, now tomorrow I will tell the master and take his leave. But every time, today it's a very nice day, master is in a wonderful mood, so maybe not today, tomorrow. And tomorrow has the tendency of never coming, So tomorrow never comes. So it went on. Now he fell sick, and so he decided to give up the body. I will just concentrate on God. This body is causing lot of pain, so I will give up the body. I will just walk into the Ganges, and then the body will get drowned there. That's all. Who cares? I have realized the absolute. I don't need this body anymore. It is not letting me concentrate on God. So let me get into that. So with this determination, Tota fixed his mind on Brahman and waded into the great river, advancing further and further. But what was this? Was the Ganges really dry tonight, or was this an external projection of his imagination? Who could say? Tota had crossed almost to the other side, yet he could not reach sufficiently deep water to drown himself. When the trees and houses of the opposite bank became visible in the darkness, Tota was amazed and thought, what is this divine Maya? There is not water enough in the river to drown me? What a mysterious play of the Lord! Immediately it was as if someone within him lifted a wheel on his mind. He had a dazzling sense of enlightenment and was struck with this realization. The omnipresent Divine Mother, Cosmic Mother, Omnipotent Mother, Mother is in the water and land. Mother is the body and the mind. Mother is illness and healthiness. Mother is knowledge and ignorance. Mother is life and death. Look at this transformation. Because he could see that tremendous power. So, late that night, Tota saw the Divine Mother's inconceivable, indescribable cosmic form. He was flooded with devotion, and the area around him resounded with his solemn voice chanting Mother's name. Imagine how much transformation. Although his body was still in pain, he was oblivious to it. His heart was filled with the joyous and exhilarating memory of this revelation. He slowly returned to the Panchavati and sat beside the Dhuni, where he spent what was left of the night chanting the Divine Mother's name and meditation on her. When the master came to inquire about Tota's health next morning, he found him an altogether different man. Bliss radiated from his face, and his body seemed to be free of illness. He motioned to the master to sit beside him and slowly related what happened during the night. And he said, the disease has acted like a friend to me. Last night I was blessed with the vision of the Divine Mother, and through her grace I have been freed from the disease. Ah, how ignorant I have been all these years. Yeah, it happens like that. When you actually see this, then your understanding gets all shaken up and gets rearranged again in the face of these facts. We dwell and kind of that happily in ignorance till a jolt comes and then breaks, shatters all our understanding with a new revelation, new fact, new understanding. And then we are forced to rearrange our thoughts in that light. Our awareness gets changed. The facts are like that. So, uh, if we uh, if we raise one last topic, we shall consider that we have shared with the reader everything the master told us about Totapuri. Tota believed in alchemy. Not only did he believe in it, but he also told Master that by means of that knowledge he had converted copper and other metals into gold on many occasions. He said that the old Paramahamsas of his community possessed this knowledge and that he had learned it from his Guru. He continued, it is strictly forbidden to use this power for self interest or enjoyment of luxury. The penalty for doing so is incurring the curse of one's Guru. There are many monks in the community, and sometimes the head of the community has to travel with them from one place of pilgrimage to another. He also has to arrange for their food and other necessities. It is the command of the Guru. If there is any shortage of money at such a time, the head monk can use the knowledge of alchemy to serve the monks. So, this is how this chapter ends. Thus, assisted by the Master's power as a Guru, the Bhairavi, Brahmani, and Totapuri were blessed, attaining the culmination of their respective paths. We can easily infer that the Master's other teachers must have also achieved spiritual broad mindedness with his help. So, it is a very special thing to learn. The Bhairavi, Brahmani, and Totapuri, they were just the examples, very glorious examples. It is why glorious examples are taken, because when these examples are taken, the truth gets more impressed on our mind. And because this has happened to such a great soul, so what to speak of us? So, this is something that we also must remember, that if this can happen to Totapuri like person, Bhairavi like person, see how deep this knowledge of truth is, and how Sri Ramakrishna's capability as Guru, as teacher, could benefit a person. It is very difficult to fathom this whole thing. So, therefore, these two examples, they are given, that how Sri Ramakrishna, his capabilities as Guru were so fantastic, so, indescribably great that even his teachers learn from him. So, it is, of course, one has here to remember here that Sri Ramakrishna had tremendous deep respect and devotion for his teachers, and yet they could learn from him these very important things in spiritual life, completing their understanding, making them come to that fullness of spiritual awareness. So next will be that we are completing this section, this volume of Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, and hopefully we can begin the next volume when we meet after the summer break. This was the last class before we, the last Tuesday before we get into summer break. Of course, in our summer break, the Tuesday classes would continue on a different topic. I have kind of, after a great thought, come on a topic that I love a lot. I feel so much benefited over the years by studying that topic. And although it is a bit tedious, the topic is not very easy to appreciate and understand. It is that study of Plotinus. So we will take it up from the second Tuesday of July. Second Tuesday of July, I think what date it is? 7th, isn't it? July 7th. Yeah, from July 7th, we. Oh, that will be first, yeah. So first Tuesday of July. 7th of July we will begin the study of that. Till then, you can all have a very nice summer vacation on Tuesdays. So we will meditate on Sri Ramakrishna for a half a minute, and then if you still have some questions, please feel free to ask. Yes, please. Any question?
Four questions.
Okay.
The first two are from Charlie. I will group them. So, first Charlie asks if Sita was Maya, was Holy Mother also Maya? That is his first question. And I'm also telling you the second question together. Did Bhairavi Brahmani attain the non-dual state? Those are his two questions.
Yeah. So it is yes. The answer to first question, if Sita was Maya, was Holy Mother Maya too? Yes. She herself said that. It is a very illuminating incident that when a devotee saw Holy Mother doing, getting all engaged into so many family problems and taking care of that little Radhu and so forth, you see. So, and this devotee thought and said frankly, "Oh, you are also all seem to be embroiled in Maya like us." And Holy Mother gave a very significant, very special meaningful reply saying that what can I do? I myself am Maya. I myself am Maya. So probably that devotee didn't fathom the profundity of that answer, but that is how it is. Yes. The answer to second question is difficult for me to give, but yes, it seems quite true that Bhairavi Brahmani also had attained the non-dual realization of God, but through the path of devotion. Yes.
The next question is from Chris Bartolotta. Um, at one point in the Gospel, Thakur says that bhakti mixed with jnana is vyabhicharini bhakti, which is translated as disloyal to one's ideal and unchaste. He then says that prema bhakti is not mixed with jnana. Can you please explain this?
Oh, yes. It is. Here the that Vyabhicharini means the adulterated bhakti is something that is a common person needs to practice. It is not a slur. It is not something bad. A person who has not attained to that spiritual height has to practice a combination jnana and bhakti. The knowledge has to be combined with the practice of devotion. And then what happens is prema is where now there is no need of knowledge. In that sense, that trying to separate real from unreal and all that, everything is now seen as love. The love or the word is very difficult to translate, prema, because Sri Ramakrishna used this word, and in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the great translator Nikhilananda also therefore did not change the word, kept it as prema. And the description is really, it brings tears to one's eyes, that in that prema, in that love, the God and you, there is no separation as such. Everything is united in that tremendous love. Your eyes become the eyes of love. Your ears become the ears of love. Even your sexual organ also becomes the organ of love. Everything is love. Tremendous. It is. There are no two. There is no passion. There is no that idea of enjoying anything. It is all love congealed. That is what a great stage. How can there is no a possibility of any knowledge there. That is the absolute unadulterated prema. But till one gets there, we have to have the adulteration. Adulteration is not, to be used in the wrong sense there. It is not a derogatory term there. It is a mixture of knowledge and devotion. Because that tremendous current of devotion is not there, nor is there the tremendous power of knowledge that will just be enough. But then it is in case of the practitioner of path of knowledge, the only knowledge is then enough, or the only devotion remains, prema, devotion. Devotion alone remains. All distinctions vanish. even you cannot say it is oneness. It is there is no specification for that. It is love. That is the real love. Prema. That is why the word is used there as prema. Yes.
The, the next question is from Sucheta Dure. Can one ardent devotee attain liberation without having understanding of the non-dual Vedanta?
Yes. Yes. Even if there is no understanding, by practicing devotion one can. And there is this beautiful incident that comes in this book. Yes, Gopal's mother, Gopaler Ma, Aghormani Devi. What a life it was. There was no need of any that logic, real, unreal, no such, let me give it up. Nothing like that. Single minded practice of the Lord's name and worship with love. It is that will lead to that realization. It is a very blessed state. So, therefore, when she was describing how she is seeing this great exponent of the path of discernment, Swami Vivekananda, he was shedding tears. She asked, I am a very simple-hearted lady without any education. I don't understand all those things. Please, you see, I don't know what you people will be thinking. But this is, and Vivekananda says there that everything that you say is 100% true. It is without any indulgence in path of knowledge. The devotion is just enough. If it is of that level, the point is that any path, if you are going to follow that path alone, then it should be that of that intensity. Like you need various types of food. Can only one food do it? Okay, yeah, you can have just one preparation, but you have to take that in that quantity. It is. Otherwise, you have to take 3-4 other things to make up for that quantity. So that is how we don't like to take just one thing. We get bored, so we have our dish, little days of little of that, little of that. But you can sustain, like one Swami who used to come to United States. He was mostly in Africa. Our African work was really started by him, Swami Nishreyasananda. And then he got the name here, nickname Banana Swami. Not in the sense of like Banana Republic. It is Banana Swami. It is means he was consuming only bananas, nothing else. He would say, okay, I'll eat bananas. And somebody asked, well, that gives me enough nutrition. And I am in this country, I don't know, I am traveling, I don't want to upset my stomach. It is the very clean thing to eat. You just peel, you don't even have to touch. And it has all the necessary ingredients for health. So banana is enough. But then you have to take those bananas in that quantity. So exactly like that, only devotion is enough. But that is how it should be, to that extent. Only knowledge is also enough. One has to have it that extent. That is how all are good, it is. But we have all the different tendencies. So we need a dash of knowledge, a dash of devotion, a dash of karma yoga, a dash of raja yoga, to make that kind of a tasty spiritual diet for us. So we need all the four. It is, but one can basically do it, you see. It is all that once one of our Swamis, we took him to the hospital for some surgery, and then he was admitted. The surgeon was there, and then surgeon put these things, made him lie on the bed, and said that tomorrow we'll be performing surgery. Now you guys, you other Swamis who have come, you can go home, have your supper. And then what about this Swami? And this surgeon pointed out an IV going there. He is having his supper like this. Now only one item supper, it is, and that too not being given through the mouth. So, and that is enough. You don't have to eat basically. So that also is enough. So devotion alone is surely enough. Yeah. Okay, stop then. Okay, don't take more than two now. Yeah.
Question, the first one is Pujya Swamiji. This is from Hima Bindu.
Uh,
How to become unselfish? And this is the first question. And Abhijit Kishra asks if the classes of the study of godliness over the summer will those be like that?
oh, okay. That last question is simple. Yes. So tell him yes. And then they. How to become unselfish? Just try. That's it. It is. There is no particular formula. It is the practice of all yogas should make us unselfish. The work, by working for others, one can see that working for others makes you more happy. And so unselfishness is more rewarding, you understand that. And so you then see that real selfishness is to become unselfish. So that is how this sounds contradictory, but that is how you can become unselfish. Yeah. Yes, Richard, you had a question? Okay, thank you. Good, good, good. You have one? Okay.
Just a quick question. To my knowledge, Sri Ramakrishna had two teachers who are in terms of comprehensiveness and tenure, long tenure. But there's a Brahmani and Totapati. The other teachers are short term, like Govinda Rai, who taught Islam was for 3 days or something. Christianity he taught himself.
No, that is true, but there were some Christian teachers also there. Not that there was anybody he took up as guru. The question is, to let me repeat for the web listeners, that these two teachers stayed with Sri Ramakrishna for a long time. No, there were some other teachers also who stayed with Sri Ramakrishna for a longer time. But their description is not here, like that Ramayat Sadhu. Yeah. He also stayed for considerable time, and then, it is a very fascinating story.
Rama Sadhu, was he a teacher? Because
It is.
the attraction of the Ramlala towards
That is, but he learned something from him also when he was practicing that Hanuman Dasya Bhav. So it is. There are, so the other teachers did come to Sri Ramakrishna, like, yes, Govinda Rai came. Yes, he came for 3 days to teach, but he had the acquaintance of Govinda Rai for some time. So it is all those examples, they have not been discussed in details because of the space, their mention is there, and so, but we have to see that Sri Ramakrishna learned from all of them, and they also learned from Sri Ramakrishna they some other important things in their path. Yes.
Like it said that after having that vision of Divine Mother, Totapuri became more blissful. And the question is basically, if he had Nirvikalpa Samadhi, was he not blissful? And also, is not Nirvikalpa Samadhi somewhat superior to Savikalpa Samadhi?
Oh, well, let us. Is Nirvikalpa Samadhi not superior to Savikalpa Samadhi? It is said here that Sri Totapuri attained to bliss after this vision of Divine Mother. Was he not having that blissfulness when he had Nirvikalpa Samadhi? Well, they questioned if they. One thing is that there is no superior and inferior in terms of this Samadhi. It is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. On that particular path, yes, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the end of that path. But it is not that one can look upon the other as inferior. It is the person can be in both. That is what Sri Ramakrishna has this. Sometimes he would be in Bhava Samadhi, which is like having some Vikalpa there. There is I and the perception of different moods, I in that mood. So it is Nirvikalpa, yes, there is no vibration at all. And so when you have this completeness, then the only insistence of one is gone, then the bliss also becomes more overpowering in a way. Now our language being very restrictive, we say good and then very good. Beyond that, what are we going to say? The words do not have any that further flexibility left. The language reaches its end. So therefore, Totapuri had bliss earlier, but then this bliss was more like that. That is why there is the branch. Commonly people won't be able to appreciate that, like the mathematics of infinities. That unless you get into that, you will not see that there is a variety of infinity. There are infinite variety. There is an infinite variety in infinity. So it is, and yeah, it is actually, that is why the mathematician who developed it, George Cantor, he was, his biography says, the man who understood infinity. So commonly infinity only means that something that we cannot fathom. That is why it is not finite, not that we can count. But then there is a variety in infinity, and you can show one infinity to be more than the next infinity, or the earlier infinity, whatever how you want to arrange them. So it is similarly the tremendous bliss, but then there is again a variety in that. For us, when we look up, all the stars in the sky appear to be on the same plane. In fact, one feels maybe this star is coming too close to the other. They may collide. I used to think one star, you can see that it is going directly hitting the moon as it were. But no, there are light years of distance between them, but we see them as it were they in the same plane. So therefore, our understanding is like that. that it is infinite bliss, infinite knowledge. That is where the language ends. But therefore this book mentions that there is a variety amongst the knowers of Brahman also, Brahmavid, Brahmavid Variyan, Brahmavid and Brahmavid Varishtha. So there is some gradation in that all as well. So the bliss absolute, our language ends there. But this is, yes, some lacuna was there apparently, that got fulfilled, and thus the bliss became there. So, friends, even though the classes will not be there on this book for some time, keep studying it. It is a blissful study, elevating study to feel Sri Ramakrishna more and more in our heart, in our awareness. His presence is all around, and let us feel that His teachership, how He is teaching me. Let all of us feel this, how Sri Ramakrishna is teaching me. So, let that be the exercise that continues. The study of the books begins and ends, but there is the vaster thing than that, feeling the presence of Sri Ramakrishna as teacher. Let that be on. And this is, we will be, with His grace, take up how Sri Ramakrishna as this capability as Guru in the next section, that we shall try to study that. The next chapter that will come was how two great scholars who were never teachers of Sri Ramakrishna as such, but tremendously renowned, Vaishnav Charan and Gauri Pandit, their story will be described in the next chapter. So let us conclude with the closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving Being manifest Himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.